Hot diggity diggity damn, guys. We are back. Welcome to the Mostly Movies podcast with Nick and Christian. He's Nick, I'm Christian, and we have a banger for you guys tonight. Absolute banger. It might be the last podcast after tomorrow. The world could end. The world could end tomorrow unless you guys go to the voting polls and do the right thing. And by the right thing, I mean whatever it is that your heart desires. That's all. So whatever that means to you, but do the right thing.
Which I'm learning as I go down the rabbit hole that is what people do. They vote with their heart instead of like the brain, generally speaking, is what I'm noticing.
Vote with your heart tomorrow, guys. No, I'm kidding. But we do have a great episode, I think, for you tonight. But before we get to that, business as always, head over to thescreengods.com for all of Nick's movie reviews, all of our podcast and other content. We have our YouTube channel. We're on Twitter now, our Facebook. If you're a geezer, hit up Facebook. TikTok.
You mean my generation?
No. But beyond your generation.
Oh, okay.
And TikTok for the youngins, not too young, but the young.
And then make sure if you go to our episodes, specifically on Spotify or Apple Pods, make sure to rate, review, and subscribe on all those things. We need to make sure we get our ratings up. That helps us get found. So please do that.
Follow us.
We
got some new additions to the talk. So shout out to those people on our TikTok. We appreciate it.
Yes. Oh, which reminds me, and I need to do this. That
sound like a 50-barrel drum. And what is that?
What is what?
Oh, it sounds like
my chair. That's my roller chair rolling on hardwood floor. I wanted to do this because I wanted to give a shout out to people who have rated or reviewed or subscribed. Specifically, people give us a rating. And Stunner, we actually got our
shout out Stunner, dude.
we got our first review for the Mostly Movies podcast. So I wanted to read that on the air.
Please.
By the way, can we keep your name the same? It's CPG, it's C Killer, and now it's Corporate Chrissy, that might be the best one. Corporate Chrissy. That's pretty good. Is that a play off of Corpus Christi? Is that what that is?
No, I'll get it. I'll get into it.
You're gonna get into it. Okay, great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, dude, let me read this. We got a couple new reviews, dude. Couple. So I wanted to read this off the top. We got one from N Beckham 1. Movie banter at its best. The hosts have great chemistry, and their witty banter makes movie reviews feel like a fun hangout rather than a lecture. Their insights are sharp, and the humor is spot on. Feels like I'm eavesdropping on my two best friends chatting about films. I can't recommend this podcast enough. Hey, N Beckham, love that. Thank you so much for that. That's what we want. We want to feel like we're just hanging out. I mean, that's the whole goal. So
yeah, we want it to feel like a warm hug. And also, I will say, I would say sharp is very generous. So thank you.
I think it's as he put it, spot on.
All right.
That's what I think. And then we also got Hand Over Heart 329. These two share their opinions. Oh, by the way, these are both 5 stars. In case don't come at me with that 3-star. It's either 1 or it's 5.
You don't want anything in the middle?
No.
All right.
Yeah,
I like some people who are like, it's all right.
No, okay. If you don't like it, just a 1, but give us constructive criticism. All right. Tell us what we need to change.
Please, how you would run a podcast if you did it.
About movies. Yeah. Now, you got to give people a place to go. Anyway, Hand Over Heart 329 says, these two share their opinions on films while encouraging you to form your own. The banter between them will keep your curiosity piqued while giving you valuable content. Do yourself a favor and start at the pilot episode. Yes, shout out Hand Over Heart. Love the concept of uniting the country through movies. That's what we do. Election tomorrow. And guess what? At the end of it, when everyone thinks the world's on fire, movies are still going to be made. And we're still going to be here talking about them. So
that's right. By the Hollywood elites. The Hollywood elites will still be making movies.
Also, it might be a good idea to stay inside and watch movies. You never know.
It's probably the best thing you could do is just hunker down tomorrow.
Be safe out there, guys. Vote and then go home, and just be safe
and do the right thing.
All right. So thank you for those reviews, you guys. Shout out to both of them. That's awesome. Love to see that. So,
much love. Thank you.
Yeah, that's on Apple Pods, by the way.
All right. Wow. What a movie we just saw. I have so many thoughts, so many things. We went and saw Juror Number Two by Clint Eastwood, starring Nicholas Hoult. Hoult, I believe. I think
never
that's
heard
right.
of this guy. I've seen him before. I can tell you that, but I've never heard of his name. So, do you know where he's from?
Yeah, he's from. Well, my girl, she references every actor she knows from this British show called Skins.
Okay.
And so he was in Skins. So she goes, he was from Skins. So that's
of
where.
Course he's British too. Is he British?
Of course, everyone's British, dude.
Everyone. We've already covered this, right?
Except tomorrow. Tomorrow's American.
Except for Kiefer Sutherland is American, and he's in this.
He's in it. I don't know why he's in it. I don't know why he took the role. It was complete waste of time for him.
We'll get to it. Tony Collette also.
Tony
American.
Collette, who's fantastic, especially in Hereditary.
Hereditary, bro.
Hereditary. Hereditary, also great.
All right. Well, so really quickly for everyone who hasn't heard of this, because this was Christian's kind of we weren't really thrilled with a lot of the movie options. And
tell them what our options were.
Well, the options that I had before he came at me with this out of left field was I think it's just called Here or Waiting Here. It's the new Tom Hanks and Robin Wright Penn. No, just Robin Wright now, right? She's no longer with Robin Wright Penn.
Like as in Sean Penn?
She was married to Sean Penn. I don't know if she still is.
No, definitely not.
I was right. I was ready. I was correct. It's called Here, and it is just Robin Wright. I think they're divorced, sadly. Shocker.
They gotta be. Well, he's in Haiti. He lives there now permanently. That's all he does.
Wow.
He's
don't know anything about that. So
that's what
go back to that.
He's doing all the charity stuff. That's all he's been doing for like 30 years now.
Since his last Clint Eastwood movie, Mystic River. Didn't he get killed off in that one? That's why he's gone.
No, he's just he's just in Haiti building huts or whatever. I don't know what he's doing, but
all right. Well, anyway, that our option was Here, which I actually do want to see, but Christian wasn't excited about it. It is getting killed by other review sites, but I don't care about what they think. I will see at some point. Then the other option, and this one was, not great. Was to see yet another comic movie, Venom the Third. I'm just going to call it. The names of these sequels are just insane. But yeah, the third and final, I think, installment of the Venom series, which I've never seen any of the Venoms. So there was, unless we were going to cram two of those in, which we have our own thoughts on the Marvel universe and all that stuff. So
that's what I was saying. We've already come out on this podcast staunchly against the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and this is detached from it because it's Sony, which doesn't have all the rights to all the Marvel characters, so they get all the shitty. Well, I won't say Venom's a shitty character, and I also saw the first. I saw the first one. It's Tom Hardy. It's good. Right. It's fun, but it's not something I think we need to break down here on a podcast like this. It is what I could break it down right now without even seeing it.
I could do it right now in the last 30. I know it takes place in Vegas. I know that because I saw the trailer 50 times.
I'll do it in 15 seconds. Tom Hardy is Venom. He's an anti-hero, so he's not exactly a hero, but there is a bad guy that he eventually has to face off against, and then he will win, and that's the movie. That's it.
So he has to fight his inner urge to be not a good guy, so that he ends up being a good guy, even though he doesn't want to be a good guy.
Yeah, well, Venom's not a good guy, just
right
off. But then, of course, Marvel always does this thing where they go, "Well, we can't just have a villain be a villain. We have to somewhat make him relatable and humanize him." And so they make an even worse villain for him to defeat. And so yeah, that's every Marvel movie in a nutshell, and everybody knows that. So
That might be just the story of Venom from the character from the comics, though. I don't think that's a movie specific thing. I think
yeah,
that's
but
the actual story. Just saying.
I don't know. Maybe it is. I don't know. I don't read comics, but also Marvel does this with every villain that they've ever have. They don't always go full. This guy's just an evil or gal, evil piece of shit. It's always like, well, they're evil, but they were traumatized as a child, or something terrible happened to them, giving them. It's like, just make them
Oh,
evil.
well, they
It's
want
like,
to.
it's fine.
Yeah, they want you to relate to the
Yeah, no,
character.
just make them evil, and it's okay. You don't have to, humanize them every single time. There's evil people.
Oh, sure. Yeah. No, well, yeah. Well, I think when you center the movie around the villain, you have to give it something. In this case, that makes sense. But yeah, in other movies, like you don't need all that. Like the Green Goblin, I don't need to know why you stink. Right? Like it's fine. All right. Anyway, we already gave it more time than we should have. So set the scene. This juror number two. I did not watch the trailer because Christian he sent me. You sent me like like you just sent me a screenshot. I think you sent me the trailer link. I think I saw it said juror, and I was sold. I will watch anything in courtroom, anything. And of course, we spent not that much time in the courtroom in this movie in the way I wanted it to go down. So that was a little thing I had. But before we get into it, let me quickly lay the plot down, and then Christian's going to break it all his thoughts down because he's got clearly a lot. So I'll go quickly through this. There is a young man who has a pregnant wife. He's probably in his like early 30s and maybe late 20s, and he gets selected for jury duty. And he gets into this trial, which ends up being like a homicide trial. And he gets 10 minutes into this trial and realizes that he has a key part to the story. And ultimately, he's wrestling with doing the right thing or putting an innocent man in jail, and he's also trying to hide all this knowledge that he has about his involvement from the jury that he's trying to deliberate with. So, go ahead.
Correct. So I'm so glad you didn't see the trailer, because if you have seen the trailer, this is one of those examples where, and everybody gets hung up, and it is true, because every trailer now is far too long and it shows way too much. Um, and so while that is true, it's the most true for this movie, where it literally shows you in the trailer what exactly happens, and you're waiting for another shoe to drop. And the opposite of the Marvel thing, this podcast, we love courtroom dramas.
Love it.
Love any courtroom drama. A Few Good Men is one of
my favorites.
Yeah, It's fantastic. And in this movie, you're just waiting for another shoe to drop, and it never ever does. It's just it's so straightforward, and I'm not I and it's a Clint Eastwood film. I don't like a single one of his movies. I don't. But
really, we're gonna have a hot debate on that. But yeah, keep
one.
going.
Name.
I got multiple. All right, but but I'll let you finish.
I don't like. I've seen $1 Million Baby. It's okay. I think Hilary Swank won an Academy Award for it. I think he might have won Best Director for it. I've never really enjoyed his movies, but this trailer really got me to buy into it, because again, it's a courtroom drama, and again, because it was so obvious up front, I was like, oh, there's going to be something else at play. And there just never was at all. And I mean, I watch pretty much all I watch is like true crime and courtroom bullshit, and I know everybody says that too, but really that's like the pinnacle of what I watch. So there's like a couple things that I thought were really funny. Number one being, so he's being selected for jury service, and he goes, the judge or the prosecutor asks him, is there any reason why you cannot serve on this jury? And he goes, well, my wife's pregnant and I would like to be available for that, which is hilarious.
She's high risk pregnancy because, as you find out later in the movie, they lost twins earlier, so that's part of it. But yeah.
Everything's a high risk pregnancy. Do the right thing tomorrow. And so, so he goes, well, my wife is a high risk pregnancy. She's due any day, and I'd like to be available for that. And then she just goes, well, what time do you work? And he goes, well, usually from like 9 to 6. And she goes, well, I'll make sure we have you out of here by then. It's just like, well, yeah, but it could happen at any time. It's not gonna happen just during business hours. And also, it's like, if I'm at my regular job, they'll let me leave, but if I'm on if I'm on a high profile murder case, I can't just exactly leave. And if I do, you're gonna have to bring in another juror or bring in an alternate, which is just more work for them down the road. I thought it was a rock solid argument, and they're just like, and the judge was like, well, we'll have you out of here by 6:01. Don't worry about it. Which I thought, it was fucking hilarious to me.
That was a little funny.
And then when he realizes he's in this predicament that he's in, because, and I'm not going to,
which by the way, there's importance to what you're saying there, because it does kind of set the foundation for the whole movie. He never should have been selected based on what you just said.
No,
and if he's never selected, the movie ceases to exist. The rest of the story completely falls apart. So obviously he had to be selected, but yeah, the reasoning he had was to be out of it. It was rock solid.
And I just don't know why they would give him such a solid out as a character, because he obviously,
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah, it makes no sense for them to be like, yeah, you have a legitimate reason, and we're just going to overlook that, which didn't make any sense, which I thought was funny.
They could have done better for sure on that.
Yeah, but so then he obviously gets selected, and come to find out, there's a retired cop on the jury too, which I don't think he would ever be selected. I'm pretty sure
they didn't ask the question in jury selection, so
they ask everybody what their fucking occupation is. There's no way they.
Well, and this was kind of the part where they try to explain this by basically the judge was like, "That's on you for not doing your background," and I think what they were going for is that he's a public defender. And he's got a lot of cases, and he doesn't have a lot of time, and so he overlooked it. Basically, he didn't catch it because he's a public defender. And they're trying to explain that, but they don't do a great job of really, But also, I would say your average movie watcher is not breaking it down like you are. Like, they're just like, okay, like they're not,
sure,
they're not connecting those dots, which, for 90.
Well, so then they're in the, also what I found interesting was like the trial part of the movie wrapped up within like 30 minutes,
That was what I was most disappointed with. Right.
Yeah. The trial part of the movie was wrapped up in like 30 minutes, and it just instantly goes to deliberations, and everybody at first is like, everybody in the room's like, I'm tired, I'm hungry, I got a family. This guy's
right.
This guy's clearly guilty. Let's go the fuck home. And then the main character, Nicholas Hoult, who's actually involved in the case, he's the one, obviously, who's like, well, we should at least talk it over a little bit. And everyone's like, fuck you. We want to get the fuck out of here. And he's like, no, I can't let it go. And which, like,
I can't let it go.
And if I'm him, I'm like, okay. What I did like about the movie, it did bring up a lot of moral dilemmas, right? Because it's like, what do you do? And like, it's easy for me to be like, yeah, I'm just gonna, I'm just gonna, put in my vote for guilty so I can get out of here, and also like cover your ass, because if you're him, you want this thing wrapped up immediately. So if I'm him with a pregnant wife at home, in his history, because he had a history of like DUIs and whatever, If I'm him, I'm like, yeah, let's wrap this thing up and go home. But of course, he's like, no, we can't do that. We got to at least talk about it. So that's when the cop comes in, played by J.K. Simmons, one of our favorite actors,
one of our favorites. Yep,
by far. He's great in everything, and even in this movie, again, it was such a small role, and he didn't get to be J.K. like he normally is.
And you know what's crazy is, I mean, I'm gonna have a lot of thoughts after this too. But even though he was barely in it, he was still like the best thing in it, which is crazy. Like he didn't even get to really do what he normally does, but he's just so good at just doing what he does. Anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, they're in like deliberations, and he goes, "Well, I'm a retired cop," and he just admits it.
Right.
Which
Throws
I thought
his
was
badge. Well, they were no. He was trying to keep it under wraps, and they were getting angry with him because he had some sort of comment, and then he was like, "All right," and then he throws his badge out there because the other jurors were harassing him, basically talking trash, like, "You don't know what you're talking about." He's like, "Okay."
Oh, he goes, "I don't."
Yeah,
he goes,
exactly.
"I'm pussy." No, so
he doesn't say that, but yeah.
But yeah, so then he starts investigating the case, which obviously you can't do as a juror,
right?
And what he comes across it. Well, there was a theory that I think a different juror came up with, and they're like, it was a hit and run. We think it was a hit and run. He goes, "Oh yeah, that kind of makes sense." And so he starts investigating the crime, and he comes up with like a list of cars that had extensive like front bumper damage or headlight damage or grill damage in the past around the time that the crime happened, the supposed hit and run. So he went to like different mechanics and like got a list of things. And so that leads me to my next point. So he brings this list of things to the courtroom,
right out in the open.
Yeah.
And starts talking to him about it.
Yeah, in front of the bailiff. And because it's only him and Nicholas Hoult who are on the like not guilty side. Right. So he's like trying to team up with him and trying to get his help. And so he gives him these lists of cars, which obviously his cars on the list, whatever. And so Nicholas Hoult like fumbles the papers to make sure the bailiff sees it. And so they go to the judge. And again, she goes to the cop, J.K. Simmons. She goes, "Yeah, you're out." And he goes, "Sick." He didn't even fight. He didn't fight at all. He's like, "Tight, I'm out of here," which is hilarious because he was like so interested in it. And then, so I thought he was gonna like continue to investigate it after he got dismissed, and then he was out of the movie.
Right. Well, that's not true.
Kind of.
He goes up to the prosecutor. He does. Well, it's not even a tip off. He was just trying to, that was his curtain call, was like on his way out of the movie. Up. Yeah, it's like you got the wrong guy kind of thing. And I mean, Christian went through a lot of plots there, which until you see the movie, a lot of that will be kind of like hard to follow. But it'll make sense when you see it, and if you decide to see it. But yeah, so. But
then, well, the point I was going to make was then she gives Nicholas Hoult an out, and she goes, "Again, is this going to compromise your
ability?
Your ability?" And he goes, "No, I'll stay." It's like, yeah, I don't. Neither of those moments made any sense to me.
All right, so I'll back into this to try to make sense for you, but even though you may not agree. Here's how I think the reason why. The reason that he wanted to stay in it is because he knows if he gets out of it, they're going to make this guy guilty. And he knows that the guy isn't guilty. Spoiler. So because of his involvement. So it's not that he wants to stay on it just to do it. He feels like he has to. And that's actually the point of the entire movie, which this is what Clint Eastwood does. So $1 Million Baby. It's probably been a long time since you've seen that. It came out in 2005, by the way. It won like Best Picture. It won everything.
Yeah.
And the whole reason for it is because of the moral dilemma that it poses. Which, do you remember what that was? I know it's been a long time.
At the end, where she like bites her tongue off and kills herself.
No, no. What it is she wants him to pull the plug.
Right.
That's the whole point of the movie, and that's a really, I mean, just like all, I'll get into this part, but just like all Clint Eastwood movies, they typically end in tragedy and they're hard to watch. This was not even 10% of what he normally does. This was mild by any sort of comparison. But that movie, he always does this. So you were asking me earlier about what movies are good. So $1 Million Baby, depressing, very dark, but very well acted, literally and figuratively, but very well acted, and does pose a pretty big moral dilemma. So it was a good movie. The other movies that I've seen, that a lot of people make fun of, but I feel like it's the same thing. Is Gran Torino was a great, entertaining watch, and it's the same moral dilemma thing again. This there's gangs shooting everybody up, and no one's going to take care of it, so he'll do it because no one else will, right? And so there's that. That's like vigilante thing, right? Exactly.
That's
Get
my
off
favorite
my
scene.
lawn. Yeah, that one. Yeah, and as corny as that scene would seem to be, it isn't. Just the way that he does it, it's not, because going in.
Yeah, I'll say Gran Torino was probably one I like the most.
Yeah, and then he's done other ones too that are, maybe they're not as believable, but like they're still very watchable. Like the one that he did a few years back, where I thought this was the last movie he would do, because he was already just aging so poorly already. Not poorly, but he's getting really old. But he led in this movie called The Mule. Did you watch that?
No, yeah. I couldn't take it serious.
But the thing is,
he's 100 years old.
I know, but I watched it and I was like, no, okay, like it's not believable, but the way he does it is, you're like, okay, like again, it doesn't feel silly, because he just doesn't make shitty movies like that. So
no, none of his movies, and I don't think he's a bad filmmaker. I'm not.
No, he's not. No, I was surprised.
I'm just saying,
one,
The Mule.
No, in this one that we just watched, Juror Number Two, because all the things you said at the top, I agree with them all. There is no you call it shoe dropping. There is not really anything unexpected that happens.
No, it's just about the moral dilemma.
It is,
but this is not even that crazy of a moral dilemma. Like there's clearly a right and wrong answer. There's really not a gray area in this, to me.
Well, see, that's where I disagree, but let's hear why you think there isn't.
Because he had so many chances to just get out of it. And also, he didn't even really know if he it's hard to not spoil this, but he didn't really even know if he was responsible for what happened at the base of it.
That's my fundamental problem with the plot line, is that part.
Yeah, he doesn't really know. He just thinks he did it, which it's, I mean, yeah, if you look at it, obviously maybe, but it's like you don't really know. And so I don't know. I just think any like reasonable person would just excuse themselves. There was so many different ways you could have excused yourself from that, being like, "Oh, I was at the bar that night. I saw them fighting." He could have said that, like, "I saw the couple fighting. I don't know. I was kind of on the guy's side. I wanted him to slap her up." And the judge be like, "Yeah, you're out of here." That's all he had to say.
Because so here's the thing. I think, and this is where I think the movie they don't do a good job, which is like I'm surprised, because now maybe it's because Clint Eastwood is 100 years old now and he actually directed this. Like, how is this guy still kicking? I have no idea. Like, he didn't just produce this. Like, he was in the director's chair, which is nuts. We talked about director's chairs. Go check our clip out on that. The director's starter kit. He probably has a souvenir hat, but he's asleep. He's in the chair,
asleep.
That's what I'm saying, and that's what it felt
Jell-O.
like, dude, in some of these. But like, because really what they were trying to say is it's not the moral dilemma. It is the moral dilemma that's keeping him there, but I think you're looking at it as in how does he get out of it? And that's not the problem. The problem is he doesn't want the guy who didn't do it to go to jail. That's the problem. Because he right. So that's why he's not just getting out of it, because he's wrestling with that, because he is inherently he is a good man who has a past. And that's the other thing too, is and this is the whole thing. He's trying to do the right thing, and they tried to set this up where he can't because he's an ex-alcoholic and no one will let him. This is the whole thing. The basis of everything is, and this is the fundamental flaw in the plot, the basis of everything centers around his alcoholism, except they don't get into it
at all. And
in the way that they need to set the rest of the movie up. It's like
Right.
it's like the supporting storyline, but it's actually the main storyline, and
right.
they just
And
don't do it.
And also the thing, like, and that's why I said there's no gray area, because it's like, well, if you feel bad, if you don't want this guy to go to jail, then just own up to it.
I know, but it's complicated. That's
so,
why.
but that I know it, but it's only complicated because he's trying to get out of it. He's trying to finesse his way. He goes, how can I keep this guy out of jail and myself out of jail?
Right. That's
right?
what he's trying to do. Correct.
That's what he's trying to do. So he's not he's not inherently a good guy. That's also the other problem. It's like, no, you're still trying to weasel your way out of this thing, and then at the end, whatever happens, and he lets it happen. So,
well, it
didn't change the outcome at all.
It
That's
didn't.
the other thing.
Well, and that's another part of the movie failure, right? But so he could have, like you said, he's trying to have his cake and eat it too. I do think he's a good guy. The problem is, and you touched on this at the beginning, is it's hard to talk about this without spoiling it. But the whole point is, it was an accident. But it was an accident based out of nothing that he really did wrong. He wasn't drunk. But he was coming home from a bar. So, and he was an ex-alcoholic. And so he knows he's a good person, but the whole thing falls apart because all he had to do was just call the cops with his cell phone. This would be different if this took place in 1992. It didn't. All he had to do was call the cops right when it happened. He didn't do that. And here we are years later. Also, another main plot hole.
And again, he didn't know that he did anything wrong. He thought he hit a deer or something. He didn't know.
Well, he also just didn't even investigate at all. Like, hey,
well, it was raining.
Whether you hit a deer or a person, there's blood somewhere on that freaking fender, dude. And they don't even get into that. It's like the rain's not washing that away, okay? Or if it did, if that was the goal, then you should have showed a close up of that happening, like the blood dripping off or whatever. But
something.
Yeah.
And then
too many holes.
There was a lot of holes. Another hole was there's another lady on the juror who was like a third-year medical student doctor, and she's going over like the X-rays, and the girl who died had two broken clavicles, clean broken clavicles. So it's like, what did the boy? And their whole theory was the boyfriend beat her to death. So what did he do? This?
Right. Which your juror, who is a med student, right, is the one who is figuring this out, right? And again, that's if they had done it right or had more time, or I don't know, I don't think they could have really fit this in. But it gets back to the point of the public defender is just not on top of any of this.
Well,
I
thought, yes, but this brings me to the biggest plot hole of the whole thing. There is zero evidence connecting the boyfriend to this murder at all. The only evidence that the prosecution has was that witnesses saw them at a bar. The boyfriend broke a glass. They were in an argument. She leaves, and then he leaves after her in a direction that, and then they even bring up, well, his car was parked in that direction. They even bring that up. So there's literally no evidence at all connecting him to this murder, except I guess circumstantial.
Well, there is, and this is again where they don't get enough into it, and they don't
hit me.
It's the old man with the eyewitness who put him there at the bridge. That's the damning evidence that they're using to convict the boyfriend, is that the old man supposedly was about 100 yards away, saw the car on the bridge, and then that's part of this subplot, or one of the 16 webs of things they're trying to convey in this movie, which is that, the police just didn't do any work, which is
Right.
J.K. Simmons characters. That's how he started to research it, because he's like, they just picked their guy and they did zero work to look at any other suspects, and then they brought the boyfriend's picture to the supposed eyewitness, who's old and in the dark and in the rain.
It was a thunderstorm.
And he was and they were like, was this the guy? And so again, all these.
He couldn't even describe the car.
No, nor did they ask. It didn't even come up. Yeah, so overall, man, it was really disappointing in terms of what I expected. But what I would say is, I think other people would nowhere near, especially people who haven't seen a lot of Clint Eastwood movies and don't have high expectations, or are not watching movies the way that you and I do. I think they'll be okay, because the moral dilemma, if you don't go into the details like you and I are doing, the moral dilemma is very simple and relatable. And it's just like, what do you do when you didn't do anything wrong? And in this case, you really don't know if you did anything wrong, but you also know that there's an innocent person that's going to go to jail, and you know it's not them. And what is your obligation to deal with that? That's a thing that I think people will relate to without picking the movie apart, which is the whole point.
Of course. But I guess the fact that he didn't do anything wrong, and it clearly was an accident, and he wasn't even drunk. He was completely sober. It was a thunderstorm. I just feel like, as a reasonable person, you have a wife who's pregnant at home. If I'm in that situation, I go, holy shit, you guys aren't going to believe this. I would go to the judge and be like, you're not going to believe this. I might have killed that broad, but it was a complete accident. I wasn't drunk. You have no way of proving if I was inebriated or whatever. And fuck Kiefer Sutherland's character too, his lawyer.
Right.
For his bullshit advice being like, well, you have a history of DUI. That doesn't fucking matter. That doesn't matter at all. That has nothing to do with, especially if he'd obviously be a first-time offender. At best, it would be like vehicular, manslaughter, maybe. But this girl was on the side of a highway. It's storming rain. In any other context, if it was you or me and this happened to either of us and we hit somebody on the side of a highway during a thunderstorm, we're not going to jail.
Well, I think
that's
the biggest thing is, no, I think you touched on the main thing, and maybe we just wrap it with this. When he actually can't admit to the crime because he doesn't know if he hit her. So he can't even say, he can't confess to a crime he has no proof that he committed. So
even better,
which that's what I mean, which means no one can prosecute him because he's not in fact confessing. Think about it. Okay, I might have hit somebody.
Yeah.
Did you hit him? I don't know. Case closed. The rest of the movie falls apart.
Yeah.
And so there's so many other angles they could have taken for this movie, which did not have to do with the conviction at all. Like, they could have done a full introspective, and now we're just getting into, like, me and you know better than Clint Eastwood and these screenwriters, but I think you do in this case. Like, you could have done a whole self journey kind of, which, like, how do you deal with the emotional baggage of that whole thing having nothing to do with the court part? Especially, then you wouldn't have roped me into thinking I was watching a courtroom drama, which I did not get to tonight. You were, like you said, it was over in 30 minutes, the courtroom part. I was super disappointed.
And to me, here's how you save this movie to me. You make the accident not an accident. You make this guy an actual, like Nicholas Holt's character, you make him an actual evil person who has to try and find his way out of this predicament. That to me is how you save this movie. Not that, like, because he just had, there's too many times you just go, yeah, bro, just tell the truth. Like, no one's going to be mad at you that you hit some random girl on the side of the road drunk. Not you. This girl is a drunk person on the side of a highway in a thunderstorm. You're good, dude. You're totally good. And instead, he just takes this crazy route to try and save this guy when he could have just saved them both. immediately. It just the stakes to me weren't high enough.
Right. They were
the-
not.
they just weren't, and I was just waiting for the wasn't A Few Good Men, the Code Red moment or Code Blue, whatever
Right.
it is,
Code Red.
where they come up with some sort of evidence and something else, but
Yeah.
never happened.
Nope.
And then the last thing I'll say is the end when Toni Collette just shows up at his door. Like, what does that mean? What does that even mean? There's no police. She's not there to arrest him, so I don't.
Well, I think,
What?
and Clint Eastwood does this type of ending though. So if you're familiar with his work, he does a lot of this. You're connecting the dots because earlier there's a moment where the DA, soon to be DA, which is Toni Collette's character, and she after the case is over, she realizes, oh crap, like it's this guy. She confronts him very calmly and everything because she knows that he knows and that he's struggling with his own dilemma, but she basically and this is another part. It's so many parts that we're just picking this movie apart, but it's like he's trying to tell her why she shouldn't come after him, and he's all high and mighty but not in a very strong way. He's like, well, it's just their press is gonna eat you alive and whatever, but he
I know,
but he does it like a Cub Scout, so it's like it just doesn't resonate. But
what if okay,
the point is she didn't need any cops and stuff. The way the movie ended was, you're gonna have to do the right thing because I'm carrying this and I'm at your door telling you I'm not carrying this anymore. And so she doesn't need to because she knows he's not a dangerous guy. That's just bottom line.
right?
That's how it ends. And I get what they were doing there, and he does that a lot. And what's weird is there's so many power actors and they all do fine in their scenes. Like even the Nicholas Hoult guy, like I thought he did a good job carrying his emotions and all of that was fine. But it just
and that's what I'm saying. If they would have made Nicholas Holt's character actually evil, I think it would have worked. And even in that scene where she confronts him and she's like, I know you did it, it would have been way cooler if he would have been like, yeah, I did, and I'll fucking kill you too, bitch. Don't fucking like that would have been even better if he was like, yeah, I'm a piece of shit. I got you. I beat you at your own game. Like that would have been cool. But instead he's just like, well, two innocent people would have gone away. It's like, dude, he got life in prison because you thought you hit a deer. This is stupid.
Well, I see where you're going with that, but Clint Eastwood's never making a movie like that because that's not his style.
Well, dude, I think
because the whole thing is about
the kid's out to lunch. Yeah, and Clint Eastwood's out. He's out to lunch because they're like, how should we end this movie? And he's like, just he did it. It's all fine. It's all good. Just end it. Like,
see, like
the bad guy goes like, yeah.
They could have kept the more dilemma part. Like, I don't think intentionally evil because that would have killed the whole purpose. But I think you had so much more meat on the bone. For example, make him drunk. Make him drunk coming out of the bar. Make him see that he hit her.
And
right?
Intentionally
run away from it, but for some good reason that me and you are doing a screenplay on the fly here, but you'll come up with some reason why it had to be.
Because
whatever. Millions of.
Well, no, they already wrote it. He's already got a history of DUI. He has a pregnant wife at home, and so he has things to lose.
Right. Yeah.
That makes sense.
Right. Exactly. And you could have went so many directions. It was weird, man. Disappointing.
And you know what I hate is the whole, I ordered a drink, but I promised babe I didn't drink it. Yes, the fuck. Everybody does. It's fine. You didn't go to a bar and order, especially as an ex-alcoholic, you don't go to a bar and order a shot of whiskey and just stare at it. You don't.
So you weren't buying the redemption story, huh?
No, he's a piece of shit. He let an innocent man go to jail. He's a piece of shit. And the whole thing was him. The whole thing was him trying not to be a piece of shit. And then at the end, he just concedes. He goes, "Yeah, fuck it," which I actually respect. He should have just done that.
But he did it. But he didn't really. She just caught him, and he knew she caught him, so he didn't really even do it. She was just like, "Yeah, no, I know."
But he stopped fighting the jury, and he was like, "Yeah, he's guilty." He flipped his own vote.
Oh, well, because again, see, the thing is, you're calling out all these points. and they're all true, but they tried to set it up so that they weren't holes. Like basically, you know, there's another juror that was like, "This thing's never ending," and then
Right.
and then Kiefer Sutherland was like, "They're gonna keep coming for this guy, so there's no point." And
Well,
you know what I mean? Like, but they just didn't do it well at all. So
and I one thing I don't know, because I thought like, does it have to be unanimous as a jury? I thought like majority rules in this thing.
No, it does. Majority does rule. I don't think it needs to be unanimous, but I do think we'll have to. Me and you we're doing law right here on live on the podcast. I don't know, but I have a feeling, and we'll have to look at this. Maybe someone out in the comments can tell us that maybe if it's not unanimous, it has impact on the maybe on the sentencing potentially, like how much penalty the judge is willing to give. Like if it's unanimous, that kind of thing.
And the other thing too, his lawyer, he was like, because my whole thing was like, it was a hung jury at some point. I'm like, all right, dude, you got it. But then the lawyer was like, well, no, they're going to make you come back and do it all over again. I'm like, don't they pick a new jury? Do they use the same jury? If it's, I don't think they did.
No, a hung jury. If it gets to a hung jury where where the judge decides that this is like we're calling it right, it becomes a mistrial, and then the whole jury goes. This is according to current AI. A hung jury results in a mistrial, and so then it starts all over again, which is basically what Kiefer Sutherland was telling him. Like
with
it's
the
just
same jury
keep happening.
It's
a whole new trial, whole new jury.
Again, you're good. So yeah, him fighting for it that hard made zero sense because he already got he already got the result he wanted to get, and then still at the end doesn't change this guy's fate at all.
I think maybe another thing that's missing is the guy is just normal. He's not righteous enough to fight this moral battle. He's just a like average Joe. I think you put this guy in a preacher outfit and he's a reverend, it changes the whole thing, right? Like how do I wrestle with this inner turmoil? I cannot let this guy go. I can't do it because of my like it changes everything. But he's just a normal dude with a kid. Like it's not it's just not enough. Like you said, the stakes were not high enough on either side. No. So yeah, all right, we've talked this to death, but it sucks because I wanted to refer people to see it, and the acting's good, and that part's fine, but it's just not worth your time. I don't think I would give this a 3 in terms of watchability, because there's not even anything. Anything. What's the word I'm looking for? That you can take with you. You can't hang your hat on anything. The soundtrack is. I couldn't even tell you if there was music in this movie at all. Like
there wasn't much.
There was nothing going on. The acting's good, but not enough emotional moments in any capacity. There was no high leverage emotional moments for anyone to shine, so there's nothing there.
Yeah.
Even the boyfriend who's misaccused, a huge opportunity for that actor, or the character at least, to show emotion. They didn't write it in. There's nothing. I got nothing.
They sentenced him, and he was like, "All right." He's like,
"Yeah, you got me. I guess I'll go to prison for life." And and even that too, man. There's just the more and more we unravel this, the worse it gets. Like his relationship with he can't even get emotional because his relationship with the girlfriend wasn't even that great. It was tumultuous at best.
He was like, "Thank God." He goes, "Thank God someone else did it, because I was about 5 minutes away from doing it myself."
That's what you're thinking. That's exactly what you're thinking when you're. So yeah, man. God. All right. So, unfortunately, guys, instant reaction on Juror Number Two, probably one of Clint Eastwood's worst movies. And
probably his last.
How many? God, I would hope not.
The kid's 90,000 years old, dude.
No, I know. It's crazy. It's so crazy how old that he's actually doing that.
Yeah, and I gotta really I don't want to take away, but how much is he really doing at 92? I don't know. But it did have his greasy fingerprints all over it. So.
Oh yeah, I mean it was lighter. You could see things in this movie.
You definitely
You could see,
But-
which that was a nice change of pace.
No,
Because
but
the joke me and Christian has is you can't see anything in any of his movies. $1 Million Baby, it's a nightmare the whole time. Even in the daylight, it's dark. And then in Mystic River, the whole thing might as well just be shot in a closet. It's dark the whole time.
he goes, let's put a gray film over every single shot in this movie.
In
Mystic
other movies.
Mystic River I enjoyed, though. That was
Moral
good.
Dilemma movie again. They're all Moral Dilemma movies. That's what I like about him, but this one just fell short on so many levels.
There's just too many plot holes, and that just there's zero payoff. Nobody wins. You don't feel good for the main characters. Like you
Which
wasted
that part's okay.
Time.
Nobody wins in any of his movies. That's the thing. No one ever does. It always ends poorly for everybody, but you feel it. You feel the dilemma. You nailed it when you said the stakes were not high enough, and so that's why the movie fell flat. The stakes were not high enough, and therefore the acting suffered, the plot, like the experience suffered. Shit, even the soundtrack suffered. There's no reason to put any music in it because there's nothing happening.
Yeah, and
now I'm just mad. Now I'm just pissed off.
Good, I was fired up leaving the theater.
But for totally different reasons. That's funny.
Do you remember?
Oh, God. We're 50 minutes in on this one, dude. We had a lot to say about this one. 50 minutes. Mostly movies is right tonight, guys. Mostly movies.
Do you remember Runaway Jury?
I do.
Yeah.
I like that movie. I thought it was good.
It was good. But
that's Tom Hanks, right?
No, Gene Hackman, John Cusack.
John Cusack. That's not Tom Hanks. John Cusack, yeah. And I think Dustin Hoffman and Raquel Welch, right? Something like that. Rachel Weisz. Rachel
Weisz. Yes.
Yeah, she was big.
The
for
Weisz
it.
man.
Actually, dude, can we take a moment and just talk about how good Gene Hackman always is? He's done. He's getting old too. I think he's on his last leg.
Yeah, he's like 90. He's 90 years old, bro. I'm pretty sure.
So Clint Eastwood is 94. Gene Hackman is
92. I'm saying 92.
They're both 94. Wow.
Dude, the Hackman's 94. Yeah. That's crazy.
That is crazy because it seems like just yesterday we're watching him in one of our favorite movies, Enemy of the State with Will Smith. Great freaking movie.
What I wanted to say, though, was in that movie is another one of my favorite movie tropes where they they bring in an expert, again, another expert, but for like the most obscure skill of all time. And in this case is jury selection. And he's like the best jury selector. Like that's his whole job. Is he like, and like they have if I remember correctly, I could be misremembering this, but there's a scene I think where they bring him in and he's.
Are you talking about Runaway Jury right now?
Yeah, Runaway Jury.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah, he's like the best jury selector. He can sway jury, whatever. But I think there's a scene where like they bring him in with like his team because they always have a team, and it was like CSI Miami. Like they're using like biometrics and like he's like, I can see this guy. He's breathing a little bit too heavy. Can't select him. This guy's fucking scratching his balls. Yeah. Can't select him. Whatever. And it's like the most obscure fucking niche job ever, and they're like, this guy's the fucking best. Like, he's like using technology for like no, it's just not how. No one's using biometrics to select juries. Or like he's like he fucking itched his eyebrow. He's no good. He's
if you remember, so Gene Hackman is the expert, the jury expert in that movie, but it's actually Christian. He remembers things. But he remembers the 98%. There's a 2% piece that he's missing. The whole thing is centered around the fact that he's an illegal consultant. He knows he's doing that. So
he's off the books. Love off the books. Love off the books.
The whole point of that movie is that he's there to stack the juries to get convictions. So it's all corrupt. That's why, of course, regular people aren't using biometrics. He is because he's a criminal. So
like I said, if I misremembered, but
you were close. That was pretty good.
I just
considering that movie came out. I mean, how long ago? 2003. So that's even older than $1 Million Baby. Jeez, we're getting old, man. These movies.
Yeah, I just remember a scene where like I could be completely misremembering it, but he's like using some he's using crazy technology. And you're just like, dude, it's jury selection. This is not that fucking serious.
It is when there's millions of dollars of corporate espionage. And actually, I think if I remember, this was a shooting, like an office shooting, and I'm sure there was some sort of political or corporate reason why they were trying to cover it up. It's just been so long.
Yeah.
21 years. So,
Crazy.
man. All right. Well, so sorry, guys. 3 at best. Rent it at your leisure, just so you can see that what we're saying is true.
You're gonna be 5 minutes into the movie and you're gonna go, I think I got this figured out, but I always
let's wait it out.
Yeah, you go, I think I got this figured out, but most movies always have something coming. No, you got to figure it out. You got to figure it out 5 minutes in.
Yeah. And then you're hoping that you don't, but you do. Yeah.
No twist, no nothing.
No, no. That is the title episode, and that will be the review title. No twist, just holes. That's the review title.
Yeah.
What do you have this week, man? Let's get into our segment. I mean, we gotta do the segment. I think the people are ready for it now. But what stinks this week?
What stinks this week? You're gonna be surprised. I got a humdinger for you.
I'm surprised you said humdinger.
Yeah. What stinks this week? Weed legalization. Weed legalization. We got it wrong, folks.
This is really breaking news 5 years later. Okay.
We got it wrong. It's like that scene in Prometheus, Alien Prometheus, where they visit the alien planet because they're searching for gods, and then Naomi Rapace goes, "We were wrong. We were so wrong. We were wrong. Make it illegal again. I'm tired of it. I can't stand it." I was at work the other day, and I work off K Street in an undisclosed location because I'm not going to give you hooligans my all 10 of you my work address, and I don't want to.
We don't want groupies, yeah.
And I don't want to
you around.
I don't want to disparage the place. It's my place of employment. Right. I'm very appreciative, but K Street is a nightmare. It's literally it's Gotham City down there, and I was at work. It's literally Gotham City. And I was at work, and I hadn't had a table in about 4.5 hours. So I was doing literally, I did everything I could do.
It was dead,
completely dead, and it was pouring outside. This is Saturday night, and it's pouring outside, and there's just trash people walking around everywhere. And I'm on our patio, and we had one of our doors open. But we had to bring the patio furniture in a little bit under our overhang because it was pouring rain, whatever. And so I'm just outside vaping, and this guy walks up to our patio, and he's smoking a giant blunt. And full disclosure, I've smoked weed my entire life. I've always been an advocate about weed. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but the publicness of it has gone too fucking far. Because this guy rolls up on our patio, and he's smoking this ginormous blunt by himself, and I'm sitting at another table, and he's just ashing the blunt directly onto our table. No ashtray, and all the weed smoke is going into our restaurant, which nobody wants to eat at as it is. This guy's not helping. No one's coming in here if they walk by and see someone smoking on the fucking patio, and the whole restaurant smells like weed. So I go.
Oh, so it literally is what stinks this week.
Literally.
Yeah.
So I go, hey man, can you not do that? That's it.
Is this just a normal patron, or is this one of your streetwalkers, like a homeless guy?
Not homeless, but definitely like not someone I want to fuck with for sure.
Home adjacent.
Yeah.
Homeless adjacent.
And like, dude, because we have a no public restroom policy and all that. And it's like, listen, guys, I don't want to enforce them. Okay. I think it's stupid. I don't even want to be doing it. I hate to be that guy who comes up to you and you're like, can you please not fucking do that? But this is egregious. You can't smoke weed out front of a restaurant on their patio, in front of their door, ash on their table, which I have to clean, by the way. So I just go, hey, man, can you not do that? And of course, he just flips out and goes, the whole rigmarole of like, what the fuck are you going to do about it? And like, he does the whole thing where he's like, so I can't be right here? I go, no, you can't be right here. So he backs up 2 feet. He goes, is this okay? I go, like that childish game where he goes, is this fine now? And like keeps backing.
This is an adult though. Not
of course.
Child.
No,
right.
no. Yeah. A grown adult, a taller gentleman.
Right.
And so he's just doing that whole thing. And I'm like, so depressed at this point because like I'm pretty sure I've paid more in parking to go to my job than I've actually made at this job. So I'm already just depressed as fuck. And I'm like, so I just go, whatever. I walk inside. I text the owner and I go, hey, I'm going home. I'm over this. This is dumb. And I go home. Just you feel stupid every single time you try and even enforce just the most like regular thing. You're like, hey man, and then the thing he goes to me, he says to me, he goes, well, you need to watch your tone. He goes, there's a way to go about things. And I go, yeah, that's not smoking weed on our patio. That's the way to go. That's the way to go about things. He's like, I'm in the wrong just for asking him to just not smoke weed in front of our business, which is just fucking crazy. So I go home, I'm all defeated, and I wake up the next morning and I'm so fucking broke right now. I had a bunch of cash on me that I had to take to an ATM, and I bank was safe. And they took the branch off of K Street and got rid of it. So there's no branches around me anymore. I have to either go to West Sac or I have to go to like down by Sac State. But there's an ATM at the Safe Convention Center.
Right.
So ironic. So I have like 100 bills, just like bills, not $100 in bills, but just 100 bills. I have like 60. I have like 61s, like 20s, since whatever. So, and if you've ever,
he's in the service industry, guys. Yeah. That's what that is.
And if you've ever tried to put money into an ATM, especially shitty money, it takes forever because it's always just spitting bills back at you.
Like you're at an arcade right now, dude, from the 90s?
Bro, it's fucking nuts. So I'm like, I got bills coming out. So I'm like, I have to put this money into my ATM. I already feel shitty about that. I feel shitty about this guy shitting on me the night before because he was just like, you're a pussy. You're not going to do shit. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I'm going to clock off and go home, which is the right decision. But still, you feel bad about it. So I'm like, I'm going to this ATM and I have all this money. So I'm at this ATM for at least 10 minutes already by myself. And then this lady walks up behind me and I'm like, fuck, dude. I already know. Because I'm going to be here another 10, 15. I'm going to be here for a while. I'm going to be here for a while. And so
it used to be that you just put the bills in an envelope and you stuck the envelope in. Why is that? Is it scanning each bill independently? Is that what you're doing?
Yeah. It's my money. I need it now, bro. I don't have someone to take an envelope.
No, I'm saying like I never had to do that, and that was 20 years ago. I just put the money in an envelope and put it in there.
No, you got to.
I didn't scan every bill.
No envelope. It's all bill by bill, baby. And I get, dude, the bills I have are like ripped in half. It's so bad. So this
is very Costanza of you right now to just be standing at an ATM with ripped bills and then just snapping at people behind you. Would you mind? I'm trying to get.
I'm hungover. I'm sad. I'm poor, and I'm just trying to put my money into an ATM. And so this lady comes up behind me, and the ATM's like processing or whatever, and so like she gives me a good 7 to 8 minutes, and finally she goes, "Are you almost done?"
Minutes, man. That's an eternity when you're standing in a line.
It was, and I could just feel her behind me the entire time.
You didn't try to give her the old heads up? right away?
No,
I
fuck
would've.
that. No, I was in such a bad mood. I was like, fuck this lady. I'm like, because you know what? I'm on my time, baby. I'm on my time. All I do,
I got here first, fair and square.
and all I do is worry about what other people think. I'm like, fuck, and especially because of the incident from the night before, I was just like, fuck everybody. This is what I have to do, and I'm doing it.
You were like, this person is not 6'5", and I'm not. I'm taking it out on this person. Just say something. Give me a reason. I will lose it. You're just begging for it. Oh, God. Oh, man.
She goes. She goes. Are you? She goes, are you almost done? And I turn around and I go, I might be,
in that high-pitched voice. Wait, hold on. What were you trying to convey? What was the message? You might be. You just confused her more than she already was.
I said, I might be. I don't know. It depends on the machine. And as soon as I say that, the bill thing opens up and it spits back the 30 fucking.
Oh my God. Oh, so what did you do? Once it spit the bills back, did you just walk away? You know what you should have done? You should have got behind her and just waited and then been like, you almost done? I got another 30 bills to put in this thing. Oh my God, guys. Well, dude. that's you gotta, I gotta give you a little bit of this because that was absolute comedy. Dude, Christian finds himself in these situations. That's why we have him on. That's why he's your host. I will never run into these stories. The craziest stories and there's lots of reasons for that. Not the least of which is that I just don't use cash. But that's what happens when you're in the service industry. You're getting paid with paper still.
Well, dude, I'm down bad tremendous. I usually keep all my cash because I have to pay my rent in cash. So I usually keep it all. But I had bills coming out, so I'm like, I have to go put cash in the ATM. So
even that sentence alone, I pay my rent in cash, is the funniest thing I've heard you say.
We can't pay online. We can't pay online here.
I know. That's also funny. Just everything you're saying right now. These are the things that I've never said out loud in my entire adult life. But Christian finds a way, dude. He's got liquor locked up at Safeway. He's paying his rent in cash. He's yelling at people smoking weed who he's a supporter of.
I didn't yell. I didn't yell.
Sorry, I strict that from the record. He's confronting people about a hobby that he likes. It's just you just can't. It's crazy.
I can't win, dude. I can't win. And
you just gotta stop trying.
That's all I do.
Do the opposite.
That's all I do is don't try. That's it. That's all I try.
I think you explained pretty well today that you did not stop trying. You were like, you know what? I gotta tell this guy, and you did it. And it ended poorly.
Is that not perfectly reasonable to be like, hey, can you?
That's not the argument. No, 100% is. That's not. This is all about your inner peace. That's all this is about. You got to stop trying to do the right thing. I think you and the guy from the Juror Number Two need to get together and figure out what the right actions to take are. You guys are just, as you put it, you have so many outs. just let it go. Oh my God. Oh, Juror Number Two.
I let so much go, dude. There's just some things where I'm at my wit's end, and I didn't even spaz. I didn't spaz on the guy. I spazzed on the lady for sure because, hey, bitch, you see me putting money into this ATM. You know it's gonna be a while. And he'd be like, "Are you almost done?" I was just like, I almost just walked onto J Street into oncoming traffic, and just ended it.
Just lost my mic. Oh, dude, that's such a crazy man. What a rough 19 hours you had there.
Yeah.
It sounds like the beginning of a Clint Eastwood movie.
It's a better premise. If I would have just murdered that woman, that's
bills,
yes,
over rejected bills.
That's a moral dilemma, dude. You have yeah. Let an ATM spit 20 Coke filled, germ filled bills back at you at your lowest, and some lady being like, "Are you almost done?"
I do think there is a premise for this type of storyline where it's just the guy who's always trying to do the right thing, but he keeps getting screwed over and over. But it hasn't been done in a dark way. So get on that screenplay.
There we go.
Get on that.
That's got legs.
It's been done in a comedic way. I've seen that, and in a family movie kind of way, but not in a.
That's every Ryan Reynolds.
Things are just spiraling. And it ends. Now we're getting into Clint Eastwood, and then it ends in death, and that's exactly.
Dude, it almost did. I almost just walked onto J Street and just.
Wow.
So, anyways,
all right. Well, we're at an hour, and legalizing weed was the wrong decision. That's what stinks this week.
Do it at home.
Wow,
please.
That was
just smoke at home.
That was quite the tangent. Holy cow. Well, we're at an hour and 11 minutes. I loved every minute of that story. I'm not even going to say what stinks this week because it's the movie. The movie stunk. And it was a good movie and somehow still stunk because it could have been so much better.
Yeah.
I don't even, I mean, it's weird to say. It's a paradox. It should not have stunk, but it did. So
yeah, it's just, it was not a great premise at all. They got me with the trailer though. Fuck.
Okay, here's how you can salvage.
Go ahead, and I'll go after.
Just real quickly, here's how you guys can all salvage the experience. If you want to see a movie that's similar to this, but well done, watch a movie called The Judge with Robert Duvall and Robert Downey Jr. Exact same type of thing. There's a moral dilemma. It's well done. It's dark. There's some darkness to it. There's great acting and emotion. Go watch that. Great movie.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
I wanted to introduce a new segment too, just real quickly.
Oh, great.
What was your favorite?
New segment. We got it. Nothing happened. Hold on. New segment. Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
It would be cool if we get the Law and Order sound. That'd be tight.
Copyright.
YouTube will take us off.
Yeah.
What was your favorite trailer?
Right?
Yes. What was your favorite trailer?
Wow, I'm trying to think what the hell trailers. I'm really struggling to even remember what the trailers were.
I had to. I can't remember either.
What were the trailers? Dude, that's crazy. I'm like really struggling right now to remember.
Shit.
Wow.
There was two really good ones. I can't remember it at all now.
Oh. Well, you left for in one of the previews. There was a Robert Pattinson movie. I couldn't even tell you the name of it now, but it's like 16 copies of him. It looked weird, but
that's by the guy. That's by the guy who did Parasite.
The
Korean director. Yeah. That looks interesting.
And which I've never seen. I've never seen Parasite. So,
there's
but I've heard
fucking
about it.
one before that. Well, failed segment for this week, but I'm introducing it for next week.
No, there was another one that we all looked at each other like that looks good.
Yeah,
I remember all three of us did.
Cut this. Cut this out.
Leave it in.
All right.
Just do it live. Right.
Oh,
yeah.
Man.
A terrible segment.
And anyway,
but yes, we should do that because we need to let people know what's coming. So that's a good idea. We'll get this. We'll call it coming soon.
Like it.
Or might be coming soon. I don't know.
I like
like some of these are a year out.
Mostly coming soon.
Mostly coming soon. Yeah, because we had the normal one, the Nosferatu. That one's getting a lot of trailer support.
That looks really good. Oh, we didn't talk about Billy Zane as Marlon Brando.
Oh, we're gonna have to save that. We're too long. But the
Did you see the pictures though?
Yeah, I did.
It's fucking
looks like
crazy.
It's
identical. Like the most. Any actors look like another actor to me. Crazy.
Yeah. What's crazy is though, like so many people don't even that probably are listening to this. Like I could guarantee don't even know who Marlon Brando is. That's how old.
Or Billy Zane.
Or Billy Zane. Either of them. I mean, no one's watching this movie unless you're 70 years old.
I'm not going to watch
60.
it. I'm not gonna
No.
watch it. No.
Oh, that was the other trailer, the Bob Dylan one that we both rolled our eyes at.
That's not the one we wanted to.
That's not the one we want to see.
No, that's not the one I wanted to remember either. But yeah.
Right. But I will say we were shitting on that movie, and the truth of the matter is we don't like Bob Dylan, period. And so I have no interest in watching the artist journey of an artist I don't care about. So, but let that be someone I care about, you know, that was like a freaking legend for their time, and I couldn't even name one right now.
There hasn't been.
You might have to go to like hip hop to even figure that out. You might have to watch like a Lil Wayne version of this or something.
Yeah, but they won't.
There's just.
They won't do that till he's dead. And all the biopics they've made, I just don't. And this is my other topic too. I don't care about biopics at all. They all have the same scene, and it's literally in this trailer for the Bob Dylan one, where the most like high tense pressure scene is him getting into a cab with paparazzi around him.
Oh yeah, right.
That's
in every trailer. At least in the trailers. Right.
Yeah, at least in the trailer. Or in every biopic, it's the guy slapping his wife around and then cheating on her. Like that's the climax of every biopic. Right. Or I swear to God, it's either
all those old guys. Yeah, that's what they're doing.
Every single biopic is about a guy who gets too fucked up as an artist, beats his wife, or either turns gay. That's it. That's every biopic. And then the high tense scene is them. There's too much paparazzi, and they get into a car, and they're like,
right.
Yeah, that was intense.
Well, anyways. I mean, yeah, I think that they're running out of like they're trying to tell the story. I guess the reality of those.
It's not that interesting. It's not that interesting.
No, I want to know how you became like not the person, the artist. And they get too stuck on the person, I think, is what happens.
Yeah, they're all normal fucking people with normal problems. Yeah, we get it. Freddie Mercury's gay. Freddie Mercury's gay. Yeah, we get it. We all knew.
We also knew that we learned nothing in your movie. we all knew that already. Yeah.
Yeah. It just.
I'm sure there's a group of people that love it. And
people fucking love. People
eat
love
it up, dude.
Yeah, I don't. It serves no fucking interest to me at all. Even if it was about like my favorite, like I just don't care. I don't care.
Well, if it's your favorite artist, you already. I guess maybe it's not for the fans, but then it's like, okay, then why make it? Because the fans are the ones that are going to pay to see it.
Yeah, and they also already know. Yeah.
You already know all the information because they're celebrities.
And Bob Dylan stinks. That's what stinks.
That's what stinks this week. Bob
Dylan fucking stinks. I don't care how many songs he wrote. I don't care how many. What I'm sure he did some, things to move the culture forward or whatever, but. He fucking stinks. His music stinks.
As far as I could tell, he just did hard drugs and started singing things that
made no sense.
Like he was, he's just rambling. I don't know. I guess he's really, really deep. He must be so deep that I can't relate to him. I don't know. But his voice stinks.
Yeah, but we are stupid, so I don't know. Maybe we just don't care.
Yeah, we're not very bright. We're not.
But
all right.
I think we could put a bow on it. That's the most in-depth analysis you guys are going to get. So enjoy it.
The worse the movie is, the more we're going to pick it apart because we expected it to be so much better.
Yeah.
So that's a shame. All right.
Looking forward to tomorrow. Everybody be safe. I don't know what the fuck we're going to see next week. I truly don't. We might have to take the week off until Gladiator 2 or I don't know.
No way. This is why we do it because you'll see movies like this and look how much content we got out of a movie we didn't even, it's good stuff.
Yeah, true.
You could just stop being a wuss and just see everything. But that was one of our topics. See them all.
I can't see
Maybe not the Bob Dylan one.
Yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Well, I'll do it without him, folks. I don't need him to I'll do it without it.
I don't know. Him. If we go hate watch it, I'm in for sure.
We'll go in hating. That's fine. Maybe you'll get turned around. Probably not, but you might.
I think so.
Robert Zemeckis is still alive. He's making this movie.
Of course.
I don't know. I couldn't list one movie that he's done to you right now, but I know the name.
Yeah, I'm never good off the top of my head. I need Google or ChatGPT, baby.
Yeah, so we'll let you know. But again, guys, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. Follow the podcast. Follow us on all the socials. It's YouTube. We're at Screen Gods. TikTok. We're at Screen Gods. Facebook. We're at Screen Gods. So, and then our website www.thescreengods.com. And our Twitter is also at the Screen Gods. I think Twitter is.
Yeah.
So
follow us over there.
I have no idea if Christian's been posting. He's the Twitter account holder. I have no idea. So
I posted.
Hopefully,
I posted the last episode, but you can follow all the other links to that episode. So I'll be posting every episode going forward.
I just want do that, but I also just want Christian to post just random. I just want you to say random things about movies. That's it. That's what I want you to do. Yeah.
It's going to be
this week's could just be every biopic sucks. That's this, something like that. Those are the one-liners I'm looking for on our Twitter account. So,
yeah.
All right, guys. Hey, again, like Christian said, be safe tomorrow. Love y'all.
We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Later.